Maya was a young woman who had learned to carry responsibilities much earlier than most people her age. Every morning, before the sun even rose, she would wake up to the sound of her alarm clock. She would sit up slowly, rub her tired eyes, and remind herself that another long day was waiting. But she never complained. Life had taught her to accept challenges with patience. She lived in a small old apartment with her younger brother, Danny, and her mother, who had been sick for many years. Her mother could not walk properly and needed regular medicine. Danny was still in school, and Maya wanted him to study well so that one day he would not have to struggle like she did. For that reason, she worked hard every single day. After helping her mother and preparing Danny's breakfast, Maya left for the restaurant where she worked as a waitress. The walk to the restaurant took about 20 minutes, and she used that time to breathe in the cold morning air and prepare her mind for the day ahead. The restaurant was in a wealthy part of the city, surrounded by tall glass buildings and expensive cars. Many rich businessmen, celebrities, and high-profile guests visited the place regularly. Even though the restaurant was busy and sometimes stressful, Maya liked working there because it helped her earn enough to support her family. The moment Maya stepped inside, she put on her warm smile, the smile she was known for. No matter how tired or worried she was inside, she always greeted customers politely. Some of them appreciated her kindness, while others simply ignored her, treating her like she was invisible. But Maya never let anyone's attitude change her own. She believed that being kind was not a weakness. In fact, it was her strength. Her manager, Mr. Patel, trusted her deeply because Maya was always on time, worked honestly, and never argued with anyone. She was the kind of person who would take extra shifts without complaining. Many of her coworkers admired her, but some were jealous too, especially because customers would often compliment her for her good behavior. But Maya did not care about jealousy or praise. She only cared about finishing her work well enough to earn money to take home. From morning until late evening, Maya would serve dishes, take orders, clean tables, and sometimes help in the kitchen when things got too busy. Her feet would hurt from walking constantly, but she continued working. Even when exhaustion tried to slow her down, she reminded herself of her brother's smile when he came home with good grades. She thought of her mother, who always whispered, "I'm proud of you." Even though her voice was weak, these thoughts were like fuel, helping her push through every tiring day. Despite her busy life, Maya found happiness in small things. She loved watching families laugh together in the restaurant. She liked it when children smiled back at her. She enjoyed listening to soft music playing in the background while she worked. She didn't have a luxurious lifestyle, but her heart knew how to find joy in simple moments. One thing people noticed about Maya was that she always treated every customer with the same level of respect and kindness, whether they were rich or poor. This was one of the reasons many regular customers liked her. They felt comfortable talking to her because she listened genuinely. She never tried to impress anyone. She just remained herself. Some evenings, when the restaurant was full and loud, Maya would feel a little overwhelmed. The noise, the constant movement, the pressure to make no mistakes. It could be too much, but she had a calmness about her that helped her stay composed. When things became tough, she would take a deep breath, close her eyes for a second, and then continue working. She always believed that difficulties were only temporary. When her shift ended, Maya felt her legs aching and her back hurting. But even then, she did not go straight home. She would stop by the pharmacy to buy her mother's medicines, and sometimes she bought small snacks for her brother with whatever money she had left after bills. She never bought anything for herself, not even small treats. Her happiness came from seeing her family comfortable. At night, when she finally reached home, she would be welcomed by her brother's excited voice and her mother's gentle smile. Danny would tell her about his day at school, the subjects he learned, and the jokes he shared with his friends. Maya listened carefully, laughing and encouraging him. Her mother, even though she was sick, always waited for Maya to return so they could sit together and talk for a little while. Those moments were Maya's peace, her little world where love existed more than worries. Before going to sleep, Maya often lay awake thinking about how life could be different someday. She dreamed of seeing her brother graduate, of her mother walking freely without pain, and of a home where they did not have to worry about monthly expenses. She wished for a future that felt secure. She never imagined that her life was about to change in a way she could not have expected. She did not know that in the same restaurant where she worked every day, where she carried trays and cleaned spilled water and smiled politely, someone was already noticing her. Someone who would soon become an important part of her story. But for now, Maya's life continued simply. Waking early, working all day, returning home tired but loving, and sleeping with hope in her heart. She did not know that fate was waiting quietly, preparing something unexpected. Adrian was known in the city as one of the youngest billionaires. His family owned several companies, properties, and investments. People often imagined that his life must be full of glamour, parties, and luxury. And yes, he did have all those things available to him. But Adrian was different from the image the world had created. He was calm, gentle, and humble. He believed that no amount of money could replace kindness and respect. Most wealthy people did not bother to notice the ordinary staff around them. But Adrian always noticed people. Not their clothes, not their status, but their hearts. That was why, from the first day he visited the restaurant, Maya caught his attention. Not because of her beauty, though she was beautiful in a quiet, natural way, but because of her sincerity. Every time Adrian came to the restaurant, Maya would serve him with her usual soft smile. She did not treat him differently just because he was rich. She did not try to impress him. She simply spoke to him politely, the same way she spoke to everyone. And that was the thing that stood out. Adrian appreciated this. He was used to people who pretended in front of him, who exaggerated their behavior just to gain his favor. But Maya was real, honest, simple, and that was something extremely rare in Adrian's world. Sometimes Adrian would come alone, carrying his laptop or paperwork. He would sit near the window where sunlight filled the place. Maya would walk over, place his usual coffee gently on the table, and ask, "Is there anything else you need?" Her voice was always calm, soft, like she never rushed anyone. Adrian would politely reply, "No, thank you," and she would smile slightly and continue with her work. There was nothing dramatic in their conversations. No flirtation, no attention-seeking, just two human beings interacting with respect. But even in that simplicity, something quietly began to grow. Adrian began to observe more than he spoke. He would notice how Maya worked tirelessly, how she stepped in to help other workers when needed, how she never lost patience even when customers were rude. He noticed her hands, small, tired, sometimes slightly red from carrying hot plates all day. He noticed that sometimes her eyes looked tired, as if she hadn't slept well. He wondered what responsibilities she must be carrying. One evening, Adrian arrived later than usual. The restaurant was almost full. The clinking of glasses, soft jazz music, and low conversations filled the air. Maya was moving from table to table, maintaining her gentle smile even though the pressure was high. Adrian watched her for a moment, noticing how smoothly she worked. When Maya finally had a second to approach his table, she apologized softly, "Sorry for the wait." Adrian shook his head. No need to apologize. His tone was sincere, and Maya felt that. There was something about the way Adrian looked at people, not like he was above them, not like he expected anything. It was a look of understanding. One day, after paying the bill, Adrian left a tip, just like everyone did. But unlike many wealthy customers, his tip was not a show-off amount. It was fair, thoughtful. Maya appreciated that, not because of the money, but because it showed that he respected her work. But what Maya did not know was that Adrian had already learned about her background from a short conversation they had once. He had asked casually, "Do you live far from here?" And Maya had responded honestly, mentioning her brother and her mother. She didn't go into details. She didn't ask for sympathy. She just spoke in a natural way. That small conversation stayed in Adrian's mind. It made him admire her even more, not because she had suffered, but because she did not let suffering take away her kindness. Another thing that made Adrian different was how he spoke to everyone in the restaurant. Waiters, cleaners, cooks. Everyone. He always said please and thank you, and when he spoke, his tone was gentle. So the workers liked him, including Maya's manager and co-workers. Soon, Maya began to feel comfortable around him. Not in a romantic way, not yet, but in a respectful, human way. She saw that he was genuine. She saw that he was not pretending, and that made her trust him silently without even realizing it. However, Maya always kept a boundary. She reminded herself that he was a billionaire and she was just a waitress. Their worlds were too different. Their lives were nothing alike. She believed that she should not even allow herself to think of any friendship beyond customer and server. So she remained professional. But Adrian did not see status the same way society did. He believed that human worth could not be measured by money. And the more he saw Maya, the more he felt that she had something rare. A heart full of purity, strength, and kindness that did not ask for anything in return. One afternoon, Adrian came with someone new. A glamorous woman with expensive jewelry, perfect makeup, and a confident attitude. Maya did not know it at that time, but this woman was Selena, Adrian's fiancée. When Maya walked toward their table with a polite smile, Selena barely looked at her. Instead, she was scrolling through her phone, tapping her nails impatiently. Maya greeted them softly, but Selena did not respond. Adrian, on the other hand, smiled kindly. Maya stepped back, something in her chest feeling tight, like a soft warning that her calm world would soon change. She didn't know how true that feeling was, because this was the moment when everything in her life slowly began to shift. The evening was warm, and soft golden lights glowed across the restaurant. It was one of those nights when the place looked almost magical. People were laughing softly, glasses clinking, music flowing like a gentle river. Maya was busy as always, carefully carrying plates and checking tables without losing her smile. But when the door opened and Adrian walked in with Selena beside him, something in the peaceful atmosphere inside Maya's heart shifted. Selena walked like she owned the world. Her high heels clicked sharply on the floor, her perfume filled the air, and her expensive dress sparkled under the lights. She did not look at anyone. Not the staff, not the other customers. Only her reflection in her phone screen seemed to matter to her. She held Adrian's arm tightly, but not with love. It looked like she was holding a prized trophy, something to show off. Maya noticed this instantly. Adrian's expression, however, was calm. He looked happy, though perhaps a little tired, but his eyes softened when he saw Maya. He greeted her politely, the same warm tone he always used. Maya smiled back gently and nodded, trying to keep herself steady and professional. Selena barely lifted her eyes. Instead, she gestured impatiently with her fingers to show that she wanted to order. Maya, still kind, took their order carefully. But every time Maya spoke, Selena acted like she didn't exist. She didn't say thank you, she didn't look up, she didn't even acknowledge Maya as a human. She just talked constantly on her phone, laughing in a fake sweet voice, making dramatic faces. Maya was used to rude customers, but something about Selena's attitude felt different. It wasn't just rudeness, it was arrogance. Cold, cutting arrogance. When Maya returned with their food, Selena didn't move her phone from her ear. She shifted her plate with the tip of her finger like the dish itself offended her. Her tone was loud and condescending as she spoke into the phone. Ugh. I am literally surrounded by these people. You know how it is. Anyway, I'll text you later. Maya pretended she didn't hear anything. She placed the food gently and stepped back with her calm smile. But inside, she was noticing everything. Adrian noticed too. He looked uncomfortable but tried not to show it. Perhaps he had seen this behavior before. Perhaps he told himself it was just stress or mood swings. Love can make people blind, and in that moment, Adrian was still blinded by his affection for Selena. But the evening didn't end quietly. About an hour later, Selena left the table to take a call in the hallway. Her voice was sharp and irritated. Maya continued serving other tables, but she could feel something strange, like tension floating in the air around Selena. Then a small moment changed everything. As Maya went to the back of the restaurant to refill her tray, she passed the hallway and heard Selena talking loudly. Not just loudly but angrily. The words stopped Maya in her tracks. Not because Maya wanted to listen, but because the words were impossible not to hear. Yes, of course I'm still going through with the wedding. Do you know how much his company is worth? After that, we'll take what we planned. You just wait. I'll handle him. Maya froze. Her heart felt heavy. She didn't want to believe what she heard. She hoped she misunderstood. But Selena's next words crushed that hope instantly. You really think I'd waste my life with someone like him if he didn't have money? Please, just a few more months. Then we disappear with everything. Maya felt her breath catch. She did not want to be the person who gets involved in someone else's life. She did not want to cause problems. She did not want to be the reason someone's heart breaks. But this was different. This wasn't a small misunderstanding. This was betrayal. A deep, cruel betrayal. Maya took a step back quietly so Selena wouldn't see her. She felt shaken, her hands trembling slightly. Her heart was racing. Not out of fear, but out of sadness for Adrian. The kind man who always said thank you. The man who treated everyone with respect. The man who trusted Selena so deeply. Maya returned to her work, but her mind was heavy. When she brought the bill to their table later, Selena rolled her eyes and did not even look at her. Adrian, as usual, thanked Maya. His eyes looked tired, unaware of the storm surrounding him. That night, when Maya walked home, the sky was dark and the streetlights flickered. Her footsteps felt heavier than usual. Every thought in her mind circled one question. Should she tell him? If she said nothing, Adrian would walk into a future full of lies and hurt. But if she told him the truth, he might think she was trying to break them apart. He might think she was jealous. He might never believe her. The thought of being misunderstood scared Maya. But the thought of staying silent felt even worse. She could see Adrian's kind face in her memory. The way he always treated everyone like they mattered. He didn't deserve this. But the world was complicated. Feelings were complicated. And Maya was just a waitress, standing between truth and heartbreak. As she walked into her small apartment, her mother smiled softly at her, unaware of the emotional storm hiding behind Maya's tired eyes. Maya lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, her heart full of worry, confusion, and a painful understanding. Sometimes doing the right thing hurts, even when it's the only right thing to do. She didn't know yet what decision she would make. But fate had already begun moving. The next few days at the restaurant did not feel the same for Maya. She continued her work as usual, serving dishes, greeting customers, cleaning tables, taking orders, but her mind was heavy. Every time she thought of Adrian smiling, unaware of the truth, her heart twisted. She felt a mixture of sadness, anger, and helplessness. She wished she could forget what she heard. But the memory of Selena's voice kept repeating in her head like an echo. After I marry him, we will take everything and disappear. Maya felt terrible. It was as if she was carrying a secret that did not belong to her. A secret too heavy to hold. She did not want to interfere in someone's life. She did not want to break someone's relationship. But she also could not bear the thought of someone good being destroyed by someone who only saw love as a game. Adrian trusted Selena. He loved her. He believed in her. And that trust was being used against him. One evening, the restaurant was quiet. It was a weekday and only a few customers had come. The soft sound of cutlery and background music filled the space. Maya was wiping a table near the hallway when she heard footsteps. She looked up and froze for a moment. Selena had returned to the restaurant alone. Her walk was confident as always, her expression sharp. She seemed impatient, constantly checking her phone, tapping her long nails against the table. She didn't notice Maya at first. But when she did, she gave a small smirk. Not friendly, not polite. Just a cold look, like she was above everyone present. Maya approached her with her usual calm tone. Good evening. Would you like to order something? Selena didn't respond immediately. She kept scrolling through her phone, then finally said, Just bring me mineral water. And hurry. Her voice held no respect, no warmth, just superiority. Maya nodded and went to get the water, but her heart was beating faster. She did not want to be near Selena. She did not want to speak to her. But she had to, this was her job. When Maya returned, she placed the glass on the table gently. But Selena did not even look up. She continued typing on her phone, speaking to someone through messages. Maya turned to walk away when she heard Selena laugh, soft, but filled with wicked amusement. I swear, he has no idea, Selena whispered into her phone, giggling. He is so easy to fool. I just tell him sweet things and he melts. Maya's chest felt tight. Selena continued, not caring who heard her. Yes, after the wedding we get access to everything. His accounts, his business ties, all of it. And then we're gone. Maya felt a cold chill run through her entire body. The plan was not just emotional betrayal, it was theft. A carefully planned trap. This time, Selena noticed Maya standing there. Her eyes narrowed. What? She said sharply. Do you need something? Or are you just eavesdropping like some curious servant? Maya felt her stomach twist. She did not want to answer rudely. Her voice remained calm. I'm just doing my job, she said softly. Selena let out a mocking laugh. Right? Your job. Serving people who are better than you. The words cut deep, not because they were true, but because of the cruelty behind them. Maya lowered her eyes and walked away. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just continued her work with silent dignity. But inside, she felt something change. It was no longer a question of should she tell Adrian. It was now a question of when. Because staying silent now meant allowing injustice to happen. And Maya's heart would not let her do that. Later that night, when the restaurant closed and the last chair was placed upside down on the table, Maya sat alone for a few minutes. The empty dining hall looked peaceful, but her mind was full of storms. She remembered her mother's voice, telling her since childhood, when you see wrong happening, staying quiet also becomes wrong. Those words stayed. The next day, Adrian came to the restaurant, but he came alone. His face looked tired. There were dark circles under his eyes. Maya approached his table, and for a moment, they simply looked at each other. Maya could see something was bothering him deeply. Are you okay? She asked, her voice gentle. Adrian gave a small, weak smile. I'm fine, he said quietly. Just a lot on my mind. Maya hesitated. Her heart pounded. She did not know how to say what she needed to say. She did not want to sound like she was interfering. She did not want to hurt him, but she could not pretend anymore. Adrian, she said softly, her voice careful, slow, trembling. There is something I need to tell you. Something important. He looked up at her with surprise, concern in his eyes. Maya swallowed hard. I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want to cause problems. But I heard something. Something you need to know about Selena. The moment the name was spoken, Adrian's expression froze. Inside him, something shifted. But Maya did not stop. She chose honesty. Because sometimes the truth, even when painful, is the only kind act we can offer. Adrian sat quietly at the table, and for a moment, it felt as if the whole restaurant had gone silent. The sound of plates, the soft music, the voices of other customers. All of it faded as he looked at Maya. She could see the worry in his eyes, the confusion, the fear of what she might say next. Maya felt her hands tremble slightly. She had never felt so nervous in her life. She did not want to hurt him. She did not want to break his heart. But something deep within her told her that telling the truth was the only real choice she had. Adrian, she began again, her voice soft, careful. I didn't mean to hear anything. I wasn't trying to listen. But I heard Selena talking, on the phone. She paused, trying to choose her words slowly, so they would not sound harsh or rude. She said that, she is not with you for love, Maya whispered. She said she wants your money, and that, after the wedding, she plans to leave. Adrian's face remained still, too still. His eyes did not blink. His fingers tightened slightly around the edge of his coffee cup. He looked like a person who had just been told that the earth beneath him was not solid, but shaking. Maya continued, her voice filled with sincerity, not judgment. I didn't want to say anything. I know this is personal, and I know you care about her, but I couldn't stay silent. Not when I heard such a big thing. You don't deserve to be hurt like that. There was no drama in Maya's tone. No anger. Only sadness. Adrian slowly leaned back, trying to breathe. His chest felt tight. His heart felt heavier than it had ever felt before. For a long moment he said nothing. Maya stood there quietly, not expecting a thank you, not expecting trust, not expecting anything. She had only told the truth. Whatever happened next was not in her hands. Finally, Adrian spoke. Did you hear exactly what she said? His voice was low, strained, almost broken. Maya nodded. Yes, I heard her saying she will leave after taking what she wants. Adrian lowered his head. His shoulders slumped slightly. He looked like someone who was slowly realizing something painful. He did not get angry. Not at Maya. Not at anyone. But the hurt in his eyes said everything. Maya wanted to say something comforting, but she knew this was not a moment for words. Some pain needed silence. Adrian finally stood up. He didn't shout. He didn't argue. He simply said, "Thank you for telling me." His voice was gentle, but filled with sadness. He paid the bill and left quietly, and Maya watched him go with a heavy heart. She wondered if she had done the right thing. She wondered if maybe she should have stayed silent. But deep down, she knew the truth. Lies break hearts worse than truth ever could. That night, Adrian didn't sleep. He sat in his large, empty apartment, surrounded by expensive furniture and beautiful lights, but none of it made him feel warm. He remembered all the moments he had shared with Selena, all the times he believed her smile, all the times she said she loved him. Now every memory felt like a lie. He wanted to deny it. He wanted to believe that Maya misunderstood. But something inside him whispered that Maya wasn't the kind of person to lie. Her eyes had no selfishness. Her words had no motive. Still, Adrian needed to be sure. So he didn't confront Selena right away. Instead, he watched, observed, listened, and slowly, the truth began to show itself. Selena didn't love him. She didn't look at him with warmth, only pride. She didn't smile at him genuinely, only for photographs. She didn't ask how he felt. She only asked what he could buy. One evening, he checked her phone while she was in the shower. The messages were exactly what Maya had said. There were messages to another man. Messages full of plans. Laughing at Adrian. Talking about his fortune like it was an object to be taken. Talking about marriage like it was a game. Adrian's hands shook. His heart shattered. He felt like a fool. The next day, he ended the engagement. It did not happen with screaming or fighting. It was quiet. He simply said, "I know the truth." Selena tried to lie at first. Then she tried to cry. Then she tried to blame him. Then she tried to say Maya planted the idea. But Adrian had seen enough. When Selena realized she had lost, her true nature showed. Her sweetness disappeared instantly. "You will regret this," she shouted. "No one will ever love you for who you are." But Adrian just looked at her calmly. "That may be true," he said softly. "But at least I will not live a lie." Selena left with anger burning in her eyes. The world she imagined had slipped away. Meanwhile, Maya did not know anything about this yet. She continued working, thinking maybe Adrian was upset with her. Maybe he would never return. Maybe she had lost his respect. She prepared herself for the possibility that she would remain just a distant memory to him. But fate was not finished. The truth had broken Adrian, but it had also opened his eyes. And slowly, he realized something he had never expected. The person who cared for him the most was the one who had nothing to gain. The days after the breakup were heavy for Adrian. Even though he had discovered the truth himself, it didn't make the pain any weaker. Betrayal hurts not because of what happened, but because of the trust that was destroyed. When someone we love lies to us, it is not just the relationship that breaks. It is a part of our heart. Adrian spent a few days alone, avoiding parties, meetings, and even friends. He shut himself away in his apartment, letting the silence surround him. He would sit near the window for hours, staring at the world outside. Cars passing, people walking, life continuing, while his own world felt paused. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even shocked anymore. He simply felt tired, completely emotionally tired. One afternoon he remembered Maya, the girl who had told him the truth without expecting anything. The girl whose eyes carried honesty, not judgment. Someone who cared enough to speak up. Without her, he might have never known. Without her, he might have walked straight into a life full of lies. That thought filled his heart with gratitude. And so, after several days, he found himself walking back into the restaurant. Maya was wiping a table when she saw him. She froze just for a second. She had not seen him since the day she told him everything. She had feared that maybe he resented her. Maybe he was hurt and blamed her. Maybe he would never come back. But when their eyes met, she saw something different. Not anger, just sadness, softness, and something like relief. Adrian took a seat by the window, his usual place. Maya walked up to him slowly. She didn't ask questions. She didn't pry. She only said gently, "Are you okay?" Those 3 simple words carried more care than any long speech could. Adrian exhaled deeply, as if letting go of something heavy stuck in his chest. "No," he answered honestly. "But, I'm trying." Maya didn't give advice. She didn't tell him everything would be fine. She didn't try to be wise. She simply nodded. Sometimes, silence is the most healing companion. She brought him a cup of coffee, the same order he always took, and placed it in front of him. Adrian wrapped his hands around the warm mug, not drinking, just holding it. The warmth reminded him that he was still alive, still human, still capable of feeling something other than pain. After a few minutes of quiet, Adrian finally spoke. "You were right," he said softly. Maya's heart tightened. She wished she wasn't. "I found proof. Everything you told me. It was true." Maya lowered her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I wish it wasn't." Adrian smiled faintly, but it was a sad smile. "Don't be sorry," he said. "You saved me." Those words made Maya's eyes widen slightly. She never thought of herself as someone important enough to save anyone. She only did what she believed was right. Adrian continued coming to the restaurant. Not every day, but often enough. And each time he spoke a little more. Not about the betrayal, but about life, work, dreams, fears, and moments that had shaped him. It was as if talking to Maya helped him breathe more freely. Maya, on the other hand, never treated him differently. She didn't change her tone. She didn't act overly concerned or overly distant. She simply listened. She offered understanding instead of solutions. Slowly, a bond formed between them. Not romantic yet. Something much softer. A bond built on honesty. One evening, after his coffee, Adrian stood up to leave, but before going, he turned to Maya. "Do you know," he said with a gentle voice, "I always felt calm whenever you were around, even before all this." Maya looked at him, slightly surprised. "Why?" she asked. Adrian thought for a moment. "Because you are real," he said. "In my world, that is very rare." Those words stayed with Maya long after he left that night. She thought about them as she walked home, as she cooked dinner for Danny, as she checked her mother's medicine. And even later, when she lay in bed, she could not forget the softness in his voice. But Maya never allowed herself to hope for anything. She reminded herself of reality. He was a billionaire. She was a waitress. Their worlds were too different. Their lives followed different paths. She told herself, "It's just friendship. Nothing more. Don't think anything else." But sometimes the heart feels things long before the mind understands them. Meanwhile, Adrian's world also began to shift. He no longer felt alone when he thought of the future. He no longer feared trusting again. Not because he forgot the pain, but because Maya showed that goodness still existed. He began to see her in a new light. Not as a waitress, not as someone who helped him, but as someone whose presence made his world softer, kinder, more human. But neither of them confessed anything. Not yet. They were letting emotions grow gently, slowly, like a seed planted in quiet soil, watered not by big promises, but by small, honest moments. And that kind of love, the quiet kind, is the one that lasts. As days turned into weeks, something gentle and unspoken continued to grow between Adrian and Maya. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It wasn't full of promises or big statements. It was quiet, soft, steady. Like a sunrise that slowly brightens the world without anyone realizing when exactly the light began. Their interactions were small, but meaningful. A shared smile, a warm greeting, a silent understanding, a moment of laughter that felt natural. Every time Adrian came to the restaurant, Maya felt her heart beat a little faster, but she hid it behind her usual calmness. She knew how life worked. Dreams were beautiful, but reality was often sharp. Still, she couldn't deny how safe she felt with him. Meanwhile, Adrian began to realize something about himself. Every time he faced a stressful meeting, every time loneliness crept into his luxurious but empty apartment, every time he felt lost, his mind went to Maya. Not to her beauty, not to her kindness alone, but to the peace she brought with her presence. He felt understood, seen, and valued, not as a billionaire, not as a powerful man, but simply as a human being. One evening, when the restaurant had just closed, Adrian was still there, helping Maya stack chairs. Danny was already asleep on a booth seat nearby, wrapped in Maya's jacket. The restaurant was quiet, warm, and peaceful. "You don't have to help," Maya said, wiping a table. "I want to," Adrian replied simply. Maya smiled, but there was something thoughtful in her eyes that night. She stopped her work and looked at him. "Why do you come here, Adrian?" she asked, softly but seriously. Adrian paused. He looked at her. Not hurried, not nervous, just honest. "Because here, I don't have to pretend," he said. "I can be myself." Maya held his gaze, and for the first time, she felt his words deeply, not just heard them. She could see the truth in his eyes. So much of his life was surrounded by people who wanted his money, his attention, his status. But with her, he found something priceless, real connection. Still, Maya took a gentle step back emotionally. She needed clarity. "But what are we?" she whispered. Her voice was small, but the question was big. Adrian didn't rush to answer. He took his time, thinking carefully. "I don't know exactly," he admitted, his voice soft. "But I know how I feel when I am with you. I feel lighter. I feel happy." Maya's breath trembled for a moment, but she shook her head slowly. "Feelings are not enough, Adrian. We are from different worlds. Your life is big, flashy, filled with people and business and expectations. My life is simple, heavy, full of responsibilities. I have Danny. I have my mother. I don't have time for heartbreak." Her voice cracked just a little, revealing how much she feared losing herself in something uncertain. Adrian stepped closer, not too close, just enough to show sincerity. "I don't want to pull you into my world," he said. "I want to be part of yours." Maya froze. No one had ever said something like that to her before. But before she could speak, Danny stirred awake and sat up, rubbing his eyes. "Mama going home?" he mumbled sleepily. And just like that, the moment was interrupted. Maya smiled softly and lifted her brother into her arms, holding him close. "We should go," she said in a hushed tone. Adrian walked them to the street outside. The night air was cool, and the streetlights glowed softly. Maya adjusted Danny in her arms. "If you want," Adrian said carefully, "I can drive you home." Maya smiled gently, but shook her head. "No, you've done enough. We'll take the bus." Adrian didn't insist. He respected her choices. But as Maya started to walk away, he called softly, "Maya!" She turned. "I don't expect anything from you," he said. "Not love, not promises. I only want to be someone you can count on. Someone who stays." Maya didn't speak. She only looked at him. Not with fear. Not with confusion. But with something deep and warm. Hope. Something she had tried so hard to hide. She gave a small, real smile, the kind she rarely showed to anyone. "Good night, Adrian," she whispered, and she walked away, holding Danny close, her heart full, not with certainty, but with a new kind of courage. That night, Maya lay in bed, but sleep didn't come easily. Her mind replayed every word, every look, every quiet moment. She felt something new inside her, something she couldn't push away anymore. And Adrian, in his apartment, sat by the window just like before. But this time, his heart wasn't heavy. It was warm, alive, full. Both of them knew something real had begun. Not love yet, but something just as important. Promise of love. Slow, gentle, and honest. Time passed slowly, and life continued as usual. But something had changed inside both of them. Their hearts had begun to move toward each other, step by gentle step. Neither of them forced the relationship. They simply allowed it to grow. Some love stories do not begin with fireworks. They begin with quiet trust. One Sunday morning, the restaurant was closed early for cleaning. Maya had finished her shift and was walking Danny home, holding his small hand. The weather was calm, and the sky had a soft golden glow, like the world was peaceful just for a little while. As they reached their street, they saw a familiar car parked near their building. It was sleek, black, and definitely not from the neighborhood. Maya stopped, her heart tightening. She recognized it instantly. Adrian stepped out of the car. But he wasn't dressed in his usual business suit. He was wearing a simple shirt and jeans. No luxury watch. No bodyguards. No signs of wealth. He looked like just a man. A man who came to see someone who mattered to him. Maya's breath caught. Danny looked up at her, confused but curious. Adrian walked toward them, slowly, calmly, respectfully. "Hi," he said softly. Maya nodded. "Hi." For a moment the world went quiet around them. Only their eyes spoke. "I came to ask you something," he said. Maya held Danny's hand a little tighter. "What is it?" she asked carefully. Adrian took a small breath. "I want to know if I can be part of your life. Not as someone who wants to change your world. Not as someone who wants to rescue you. But as someone who wants to stand with you. With both of you." He glanced gently at Danny. The little boy blinked up at him shyly. Maya's heart trembled. "You don't have to decide today," Adrian said softly. "I just want you to know that I'm not going anywhere." Maya didn't answer immediately. She searched his face for any sign of pity, pressure, or temporary emotion. But all she saw was sincerity, deep and patient. Then something happened that neither of them expected. Danny took a step forward, looked up at Adrian, and spoke in his small, soft voice. "Are you nice?" he asked. Adrian knelt down to Danny's height. "I try very hard to be," he answered. Danny thought for a moment, then nodded. "That's good," he said simply. Maya felt tears build in her eyes, not because she was sad, but because her brother, who rarely trusted strangers, had seen something pure in Adrian that she herself had slowly come to recognize. Maya lifted her eyes to Adrian. "You can come in," she said quietly. She was opening her door. But more importantly, she was opening her heart. They walked upstairs together. Her apartment was small, the paint was old, the furniture was simple, but it was warm. It smelled like home, like cooked rice, old books, and the soft scent of comfort. Adrian felt something he had never felt even in his mansion, peace. Maya served tea. They didn't talk about the past. They didn't talk about the pain. They didn't even talk about the future. They talked about small things, music, school memories, favorite foods. And that was enough. Days turned to weeks. Their bond grew naturally. Adrian didn't rush. Maya didn't hide. They met halfway every step of the way. He helped Danny with homework sometimes. He took Maya and Danny to a small park on weekends. Not expensive restaurants, not luxury trips. Just simple joys. Their worlds were no longer separate. They were slowly becoming one. One evening, on a quiet rooftop under a soft moonlight, Adrian took Maya's hand. It was the first time he held it, and her heart raced, but she didn't pull away. "Maya," he whispered, "I used to think love was something grand and loud, but now I know love is peace. And you are my peace." Maya felt tears fall, but they were warm, beautiful tears. She didn't need to say anything. She simply leaned closer, resting her head against his shoulder. In that quiet moment, they both understood. This was love. Not dramatic. Not rushed. Not forced. Not built on wealth, beauty, or need. It was built on truth. On patience. On gentle care. On shared silence. On trust. Some weeks later, on a sunny afternoon, Adrian stood in front of Maya, holding a small ring. Not a diamond worth millions. Not a flashy symbol for society. Just a simple silver band, one that reflected sincerity instead of status. "I don't want you to marry my world," he said softly. "I want to build a new world with you." Maya's eyes filled again, but this time with joy so full it felt like her heart couldn't contain it. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, Adrian." Danny clapped his little hands excitedly. And that was it. The billionaire didn't choose wealth. He didn't choose image. He didn't choose perfection. He chose truth. He chose kindness. He chose love. He chose her, the waitress who spoke the truth, the sister who fought for her family, the woman whose heart was pure. And together they began a new chapter, a love story that wasn't about money or status, a love story that was about soul.